Hello, Chem 11 Enriched. Here we go. Week 3, section 7.2 in your workbook titled What Dissolves and What Doesn't, and then the very important phrase, like dissolves like. All right. So firstly, with our warm-up is a look back at chapter 6 and our intermolecular forces. Right? Remembering the type of bond, the symmetry, whether the entire molecule is considered to be polar or nonpolar. So looking back at water, let me grab the right pen here. Looking back at water, of course, being a polar molecule with the oxygen slightly negative and the hydrogen slightly positive, there is that dipole-dipole. And because a hydrogen is involved, there is hydrogen bonding. And of course, there is always just minute amount of Lindon dispersion forces. So then with our iodine diatomic, it is a nonpolar molecule. So with a nonpolar molecule, then we only have Lindon dispersion forces. HF fluorine is much more electronegative. So in that particular case, then fluorine is going to be pulling the dipole towards itself. So fluorine is slightly negative and hydrogen is slightly positive. We do have a polar molecule. So here we go again, all three of those. Of course, the majority of the interactions would be the dipole-dipole hydrogen bonding. Right. PCl3. PCl3, we need to remind ourselves of the shape of that molecule. P comes in with 5 electrons, much like nitrogen. And then here's a chlorine, and there's another chlorine, and our third chlorine. So it is a trigonal pyramidal. Trigonal pyramidal being a non-symmetrical molecule. So this overall molecule is polar. And again, polar with another polar molecule, we're going to be seeing dipole-dipole. Now, I am not going to take off the hydrogen bonding because there's no hydrogen involved here. Right? Our last one is ethanol with the OH functional group. And so this is a polar molecule. So again, we are going to see dipole-dipole and hydrogen bonding in ethanol. Ethanol is actually talked about quite a bit coming up in a later section that we are going to read. So what is this like dissolves like? Let's jump right down to the definition here. So like dissolve like is when the solute will dissolve in a solvent if both of those will have contain similar types of intermolecular forces. Okay, so same dissolve same. Okay, so similar intermolecular forces, then those would be a situation where we are going to see dissolving. Now what's this blurb here with vitamin? This is an interesting one actually. Vitamin C, I often take vitamin C as a supplement. And when I read the contents on the box, it says like 1,000 times my daily requirement of vitamin C. Now, it's totally okay to once in a while get 1,000 times the recommended daily dose. And that's because vitamin C is a water-soluble vitamin. So being a water-soluble vitamin, even if you are consuming too much, it just gets flushed out of your body. So no big deal. And the fact that we can't store vitamin C in our body because it's flushed out, then that of course became an issue with scurvy when you're not having constant sources of vitamin C. Vitamin A, however, way up here, vitamin A is quite different. It's one of the fat-soluble vitamins. So being a fat-soluble vitamin, our body can store it. However, being a fat-soluble stored in our body, you know, it is an issue. You can have actually too much of vitamin A as it gets stored and builds up in your body. Yeah, I like that section. Connecting our water-soluble, like dissolves like, and connecting that with our vitamins. Neat. Okay, let's jump back to our chemistry here. So our 3 really important points that we have to consider when we are thinking about whether a substance is going to dissolve. 3 things. Number 1, the solute, we have to try and break the particles apart. So let's take the example of salt, NaCl being our solute. Then we have to overcome the ion-ion interactions. That is within the NaCl ionic crystal. If we can overcome that, and secondly, we can overcome the interactions between the solvent particles. So let's think about water being our solvent. We must be able to separate one water molecule from another, remembering that there is hydrogen bonding and dipole-dipole interactions between those water molecules. So if we can overcome that, then finally the solute and the solvent particles interact with each other. So all 3 things have to happen before one substance is considered to be dissolved into a second substance. So our talk about salt dissolving in water continues here. It is an example of an ionic solute dissolved in a polar solvent. So what is going on? What is going on here would be our sodium ion breaking apart from the chloride ion from that ionic crystal lattice and overcoming the attractive forces between those 2 ions, and the water molecules interacting with those ions. So the slightly negative portion of our water molecule is interacting with, of course, our positive ion. And vice versa on the other side, the slightly positive portion of our water molecule, being the H's, interacting with our negative ion. So this is called the ion dipole force. It's actually quite a strong force. And it's similar in size and type to the ionic attractions in the solute and the hydrogen bonds in the solvent. Now, of course, as we found from our last section, 7.1, not all ionic salts are soluble. And, for example, silver chloride is actually not soluble. So what's going on? There's a lot going on, and we're not going to go through the details. But basically, those ions are really attracted to each other, and we can't overcome those attractive forces to break those ions apart such that the silver chloride dissolves in water. So let's see if we can have a quick peek at the quick checks. Number 1, what is like between sodium chloride and water? So like dissolves like. What is the similarity between the 2? Oh, I was waiting for you to answer. Did you talk about polar and polar? Yeah, right? They're charges that we have in sodium chloride, and there are partial charges in our water, and so we are able to see those 2 interacting. Number 2, why would water molecule not surround iodine? Water is polar, iodine is nonpolar, so they are not going to be interacting. Would you expect sodium chloride to dissolve in oil? Oil being a nonpolar solvent? And the answer is no. They are unlike. Sodium chloride is polar, and oil is not polar. And the last one, have you been checking out those QR codes? You know, these things? hold your camera up to it, and then it links you to a video that explains what's going on. I'm going to shorten up my video, so I'll point you to check out the QR code in that video to go over that answer. All right, moving on. So what about a polar solvent and a polar solute? So the example here is ethanol. Ethanol is a polar molecule. Ethanol contains the oxygen that's bonded to the hydrogen, and so that hydroxyl group actually is polar. The other end of the chain that we call the hydrocarbon chain, so lots of C's, lots of H's, that actually acts as a non-polar section. But still, that OH hydroxyl group at the end does make this a polar molecule. Water being also polar, so there are interactions between the ethanol molecule and our water molecule. So where's that going on down here? Yeah, down here. So here's the hydroxyl group, the H being slightly positive, interacting with the oxygen, which is slightly negative. So there's hydrogen bonding going on. Now that was just an example of ethanol. Just so that you know, if we have other alcohols and the hydrocarbon chain, the C's and H's, get a little bit larger, the actual molecule then becomes nonpolar. Yeah. So when we get to longer chains, so we're moving beyond ethanol, so we're talking like propanol, right? Longer hydrocarbon chains makes the overall molecule non-polar. Similarly, other organic molecules that have OHs are also soluble in water. So let's take a look at this molecule on the left. This is a glucose sugar molecule. Take a look at all those OHs, right? And so this sugar molecule is actually very soluble in water. You should check out the solubility of sugar in water. It's actually crazy, crazy high solubility. And with those 5 hydroxyl groups, it makes it really easy to interact with water, forming a lot of hydrogen bonds. Okay, so we've done that. And what's this one? Formaldehyde in chloroform. Let's see what formaldehyde is. So formaldehyde is this molecule down here. Good thing we did the organic section before the end of Christmas break, eh? So chloroform is down here with our CHCl3. So let's see what's going on. We do have dipole-dipole attraction in formaldehyde, and we do have dipole-dipole attraction in chloroform. So even though we've never really met those two molecules before in real life, we can predict, right, that those two are going to be soluble. And those two are soluble because of similarities. Similarities in the polarity of formaldehyde as well as polarity in the chloroform. So in conclusion, line down here, ionic compounds as well as polar solutes do dissolve in a polar solvent. And the examples that we saw up above, right, were all examples where we saw such examples.